Good morning, Birmingham Unitarian Church. Welcome to all, whether you're visiting us for the first time or have been here many times before. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary or remotely via Zoom, or watching the recording later, it's good to connect with you. Today, children will be with us in the sanctuary to hear a story before heading to their activities of the morning. The family room, located just to the left at the back of the sanctuary, with audio of the service piped in, is open for parents and children. And care is also available in the nursery on our lower level for infants and children through age 5. By greeting our virtual neighbors, we build a bridge between online and in-person participants. First, we'll project on our screen the image of folks who are with us on Zoom. And if you're comfortable doing so, please turn on your cameras and give us a wave. Now, we who are gathered here in the sanctuary are invited to turn and face the camera in the back and give the folks on Zoom a wave. If you're with us in person, we invite you to join us after service for coffee and conversation in Hodas Hall, which is located to the left after you exit the sanctuary. Our newcomer table is a place where visitors and newcomers can meet and chat with members of the congregation and with each other. All are encouraged to drop by, just look for the colorful sign. And if you're with us on Zoom, you're invited to stay on the call for a virtual coffee hour right after the service ends. At noon, here in the sanctuary and on Zoom, the Bylaws and Policies Working Group will host a question and answer session about the proposed, amended, and restated bylaws that will be the subject of a congregational vote on November 16th. Whenever and however we connect with the BUC community, we are building our beloved community.
As we kindle this flame, the flame, we honor and remember those who have passed into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision. Their courage lives on in our commitments. And their love continues to bless the world through us.
We invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing In Sweet Fields of Autumn, hymn number 52. You shall ask, what good are dead leaves? And I will tell you, they nourish the sore earth. You shall ask, what reason is there for winter? And I will tell you to bring about new leaves. You shall ask, why are the leaves green? And I will tell you, because they are rich with life. You shall ask, why must summer end? And I will tell you, so that leaves can die.
Our story today is called Always Remember by C.C. Meng. In the end, on his very last day, Old Turtle swam his last swim and took his last breath. With his life complete, the gentle waves took him away. By dawn, everyone who knew Old Turtle knew he was gone. The turtles playing in the reef remembered how he taught them to swim. Old Turtle had been a good teacher, and the turtles would always remember. The broad-backed, humpback whale remembered how Old Turtle swam alongside her and kept her company when she became separated from her pod. Old Turtle had been a good friend, and the whale would always remember. The sea otters remembered how Old Turtle would dive and play with them and make them laugh. Old Turtle had loved to have fun. And the otters would always remember. The dolphins remembered how Old Turtle was curious about the unknown and bravely swam far out to sea. Old Turtle explored the darkest of waters and discovered glittery jewels to show his friends. And the dolphins would always remember. Once, a terrible storm tossed and turned the ocean for 3 long days and nights. A starfish was torn from her rock and swept away. When the waves became calm again, Old Turtle looked for her and found her and carried her home. And the starfish would always remember. When Old Turtle found a manatee tangled in a fishing net, he snipped and pulled and would not stop until the manatee was free. The manatee told the story to his children, and they told the story to their children. Old Turtle would never be forgotten. Once upon a time, there was an old turtle. He was a wonderful teacher and friend. He loved to laugh and have fun. He explored the unknown and discovered great things. He showed kindness and strength, and he made his world a better place. When Old Turtle died, the ocean took him back, but what he left behind was only the beginning. At this time, we'll have our children and youth join us in the pavilion as we head off to our classes.
The mission of Birmingham Unitarian Church is to be a free and welcoming religious community that encourages lives of integrity, learning, service, and joy. One way we live out this mission is by giving half of our weekly offering to a nonprofit organization that shares our values and addresses needs in the community. To suggest a nonprofit for this donation, please check the BUC website under Justice to find the application form. The recipient of our November plate sharing is Relief Michigan, a tree planting and education organization established in 1988. Relief Michigan is Michigan's only statewide tree planting nonprofit organization working with communities and organizations throughout Michigan to protect and restore our urban tree canopies. Their mission is to educate the public on the value of trees and how to properly select, plant, and maintain them. Founded by some of the most respected arborists in the state and building on lifetimes of green expertise, Relief Michigan plants the right tree in the right place at the right time for the right purpose to ensure that each tree thrives for generations to come. Relief Michigan has worked with over 700 communities across Michigan. Working with community volunteers, they have planted more than 33,500 trees on public property in Michigan's cities, townships, and villages. The ushers will now receive this morning's offering, given and received in a spirit of generosity and gratitude. This offering is dedicated to the good work of Relief Michigan and of this congregation.
Autumn Prayer by Christine Robinson. God of the autumn, help us to live with the grace of falling leaves, the enthusiasm of the flaming aspens, with the serenity of the old trees whose roots reach deep into the earth. God of the autumn, help us to know that living and dying are one, that life is precious and beautiful and limited, that nothing good is ever lost. God of the autumn, help us to see in the ways of nature a way for ourselves. We hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows. Whether we speak of it or not, we each have known sorrow in our lives. Even when it is unspoken, our grief is not unspeakable. We have each known losses, sometimes even an old grief bubbles to the surface, to be experienced as a pang, perhaps less sharp than when the loss was new, but no less real. And whether we speak of it or not, we have each known joy in our lives. Even when we feel overshadowed by grief, the joy is part of us too, available to help sustain us. Sometimes we hold our joy or sorrow close, not ready or not able to express it. And sometimes our happiness or our grief overflows in words or laughter or tears. We hold each other in our hearts and minds. Our own experience of joy and sorrow deepen our compassion. The joys and sorrows of the congregation that are shared with us this morning are these. We share the sad news that Helen Corrigan, member of BUC since 1960, died on September 1st at the age of 97. Helen was a longtime member of the BUC choir, and we are told that she had been a tango dancer with Argentine Tango Detroit. The notice of her death was shared by the Neptune Society. Our sympathy is extended to Helen's family and friends. A joy from Claudia Coker and Sean Rooney. They are celebrating their 34th? It's good. It's good to have an expert at hand. Their 34th wedding anniversary today. And a joy from Sarah Sullivan. It was a joy to attend the Energizing Strategic Planning workshop this past Saturday. From Paula Olson, her husband is in the hospital again and has been very ill. She may need to watch on Zoom and will be unable to usher regularly, so please consider taking that role as usher. It will be appreciated by many. From Kathy Holmer, her brother-in-law Tom received a lung transplant last Saturday, October 18th. He's recovering well and ahead of the curve. We remember those experiencing losses and those facing health challenges. We pray in whatever way we pray for all those affected by war, by hatred and violence. We pray for peace. The cares of the world are many. Even when the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us take care of one another and ourselves in all the ways we can. Let us make this a safe and welcoming place for all. As we hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows, whether spoken or unspoken, let's take a moment to be quiet together. Now please join in singing Voice Still and Small.
They Are With Us Still by Kathleen Mateague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living.
This autumn season in the Northern Hemisphere is the season of falling leaves, reminding us of the cycle of death and birth. This is the season when the ancients believed that the veil between the living and the dead was especially thin. It's the season of Samhain, the days of All Hallows, All Saints, and All Souls, and El Dia de los Muertos, various ways of commemorating the dead and of recognizing our own mortality. For our Universalist forebears, All Souls Day, November 2nd, had particular significance. In its origin, All Souls Day was the day to pray for the souls of the departed faithful, that their souls might make it from purgatory to heaven. In our Universalist tradition, all souls are reconciled with a loving God, and All Souls Day was a day for prayer and celebration of that salvation. Our Unitarian forebear, William Ellery Channing, declared, "I am a living member of the great family of all souls, and I cannot improve or suffer myself without diffusing good or evil around me through an ever-enlarging sphere. I belong to this family. I am bound to it by vital bonds. I am always exerting an influence upon it. I can hardly perform an act that is confined in its consequences to myself. Others are affected by what I am and say and do, so that a single act of mine may spread and spread in widening circles through a nation of humanity. Through my vice, I intensify the taint of vice throughout the universe. Through my misery, I make multitudes sad. On the other hand, every development of my virtue makes me an ampler blessing to the human race. Every new truth that I gain makes me a brighter light to humanity. I am organically connected with the great family of the universal parent. We are living members of the great family of all souls. Our ancestors and our descendants are part of who we are. The veil between the living and the dead is always thin. Those who have come before give us strong roots for our future growth. There are 20 or more Unitarian Universalist churches with the name All Souls. The one in New York City was the first, and its naming was inspired by Channing's words. Unitarian Universalists may have differing ideas about what happens after people die and what salvation means, if not because we expect to have an effect on the souls of our own departed faithful through our thoughts or prayers. If we don't believe in that kind of prayer or that kind of heaven, why is it nevertheless important for us to remember those departed faithful? In remembering, we are reminded of our mortality, that our earthly lives are finite. We are reminded of our humanity, that even though our faithful departed led imperfect lives, and we too lead imperfect lives, their lives have meaning, and we too have meaning in our lives. We are reminded of our community. We are not alone. Perhaps we remember our departed faithful because of the effects of such remembrance on our own souls. Each of us carries memories of those who have gone before, whose lives have been part of our lives. For some of us, those memories are a constant presence. For some, the memories are seldom brought to conscious thought. Remembrance can be bittersweet. In recalling even our joyful memories, we are reminded of the pain of loss, the sorrow of what is no more. For me, my laughter in recounting a funny story about my mother, who died 40 years ago, sometimes has a way of turning into tears. But I have learned and continue to learn to tell the story anyway, to speak through the tears, because I've realized that those tears are not a manifestation of a grief that should be staunched, but of a love that overflows. I invite you now to take a moment to remember to embrace and be embraced by the memory of a loved one who has died, whether in the past year or sometime before. Let the sorrow of loss be tempered by the joy of recalling that person's presence in your life, even if it was for too brief a time. Remember someone who has touched your life and focus for a moment on what you would choose to carry forward from that person's life. I invite you now to speak the name aloud, or to silently speak that name into your heart. Speak out if you wish. All together is fine. Separately is fine. We remember and we hold each other in our hearts. As Unitarian Universalist Minister Maureen Kaloran wrote, remembering our loved ones, may we here and now resolve to live a little more closely to our values, to care a little more deeply for others, to risk a little more often. And on this day, may we tell someone very clearly that they are valued and they are loved. Our departed faithful are part of who we are. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing Spirit of Life, hymn 123.
Our inner lights. As our chalice flame is extinguished this morning, we remember that its glow is carried within us. We can use our inner lights to kindle new sparks throughout our lives and in the world.
May we live our lives fully and creatively so that we may be a blessing to ourselves, to each other, and to all those whose lives we touch. Please remain seated during the postlude, and then those who wish to do so will gather in the Memorial Glen for a brief ceremony of dedication and rededication of the cenotaphs.